Josh Hennig here, coming back to you with another Marvel themed conversation, and it's a reaction to Deadpool and Wolverine becoming the highest grossing R rated movie of all time. Now, on the surface, some people may just shrug their shoulders at that. But there's actually a bigger reason why this is important, because there are two specific reasons why this has happened, and it really applies to all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward. So, there's going to be a big picture and a small picture perspective. So let's get into it right now. Here, I'm Josh Hennig, watching my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Appreciate you tuning in to this episode about Deadpool and Wolverine. And Deadpool and Wolverine now has crossed the $1.3 billion mark. And on the surface, some people will be like, wow, that's a lot of money. And it really is, because Deadpool now holds 3 of the top 10 highest grossing R rated movies of all time. And what's interesting about that is this movie on the big scale really got to this point because, well, it's the same reason why Top Gun Maverick made a ton of money a couple of years ago, why Oppenheimer made a lot of money last year, which is when you have star actors who play characters that are beloved, it's easy to draw people to the movie theater. Don't forget, today's world, people have so many options. They don't need to go to the movies. They can watch streaming at home. There are so many people who choose not to go to movies anymore because they can just wait till it comes out on their streaming. They don't have to leave their house anymore to watch movies. So why did over 120 million people take their own money and watch this movie? Well, it goes back to the big reason why people go to watch a lot of movies. The name on the marquee. It's the idea that people want to see great actors in roles that they enjoy. Ryan Reynolds has taken a character that half the world didn't even care about and turned it into arguably one of the most popular Marvel characters in all of cinema. Hugh Jackman did the same thing. Wolverine was always a popular character for geeks like myself who read comics, but he took that character from the comic book pages to something that people can identify and connect with on the big screen. So you take 2 of those characters, one character who is known for breaking the fourth wall and making all kinds of vulgar jokes and being politically incorrect, and another character who is an anti-hero who is reluctant to be a hero, and you put them together into one film, obviously it's going to draw people to the theater. It also helps that both guys are very well respected. They are people that there's really no way you can say anything mean or bad about them. And it creates an environment where people actually want to go to the movies. They want to spend their money. They want to see what all the talk is about. And I think that is something that gets forgotten in all of this. It's not that a movie like Barbie or Oppenheimer last year were the greatest works of cinema in the world. While some people do think Oppenheimer was a very well done movie, which it was, and Barbie was a cultural phenomenon, it was because of the actors and actresses, what they put into those roles, what they created with those roles, and how people were able to identify with them. There is so much about the Wolverine and Deadpool characters, played by Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, that makes people engage and want to see what they're up to, and they get taken for a great story along the way. And that's the big picture. The big picture is if you put actors and actresses into roles that people want to see, and you give them a reason to go see it, they're going to want to go see it. And that leads us to the second reason, and the more important reason, why this movie did so well. Marvel got back to basics. See, the reason why Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all these properties, Guardians of the Galaxy, did so well, it wasn't because they were Marvel properties. It's because Marvel let the producers and directors and writers do their jobs, be creative. You see, all of these films were character-driven movies and properties. And while we can sit here and talk about all the cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine, which there were tons of them, we could talk about all of the side jokes, all of the politically incorrect humor. but more so it's about the fact that Marvel had gone away from the formula. When they made movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, they made properties like The Marvels, Secret Invasion. What they did was they got away from the formula. Instead of having character-driven movies and shows, what they did was they were trying to squeeze these characters into stories that served the bigger and larger goal, which is this multiverse saga. Well, the problem was is that when you get away from what makes your movies great, people are less likely to want to go to them, and their friends who might have gone to see the movie before them says, you can wait to see it on streaming. You don't need to see it in the theaters. Now, of course, the Marvels, that was a huge mistake by Disney because they should have never released a movie during a writer and actor strike when the actresses in the Samuel L. Jackson, hello, none of them got to promote the movie properly. So, of course, the movie was doomed to failure. And let's be realistic. We do not live in the era anymore where the movie that comes out in February and March is going to be as financially beneficial if people just don't want to go see it. I'm talking to you, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So where did Deadpool and Wolverine get it right? Number one, they let the people who create the project the freedom to create. Ryan Reynolds does not always follow a script. He ad-libs some of his lines, and those ad-libs create some of the best moments in his movies. So what do? They said, Deadpool, be Deadpool. Break the fourth wall. Make jokes that people might not like. But guess what? That's what great comedies do. Great comedians are willing to offend people and their hypersensitivity for the larger joke for the audience. Number two, what did Marvel do? They said, we're going to release this movie in the middle of the summer, in a window where there's no other films that could compete with it, at a time of year where people are going to say, you know what, I kind of want to go inside to watch a movie because it's hot outside. Or, you know what, I'm not busy with school activities and football and all this other stuff. I can go watch a movie. Again, smart move. By the way, what was the last project that Marvel did that was released? Guardians of the Galaxy was released in May. Right. So it's near the end of the school year, before summer vacations. Again, timing does matter with these movie releases. And the third reason why the movie did well is, let's be realistic, it was fun. Marvel got away from fun. They were so obsessed with the multiverse saga and trying to cram in all this stuff in these story arcs, they didn't really let the characters drive the films. The reason why Robert Downey Jr. is so beloved is because Iron Man is a character that people grew to love. See, like Chris Evans' Captain America, Chris Hemsworth's Thor, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, Chris Pratt playing Star-Lord. All of these actors and these actresses who played these characters, they care about the characters because there was a development of the characters, there was a growth of the characters, and there was a freedom to let the characters and their journeys drive the story. The most compelling part of Deadpool and Wolverine is to see the genesis, evolution, and landing point of Hugh Jackman's latest version of Wolverine. This Wolverine had zero interest in being a hero, zero interest in helping Deadpool, and over the course of the film, he realizes that he is made, he is created, he is built for this moment. And it's because of his willingness to grow and expand as the movie goes, despite his copious amounts of drinking. At the end of the movie, he is able to save the day, and he accepts the fact that, you know what, I don't have to be a loner. I don't have to be the guy who just hangs out by myself and drinks at bars and gets into fights. And by the way, Deadpool goes through his own character growth as well. He goes from being a guy who has zero interest in being a hero anymore because he feels like he let down the love of his life, his girlfriend, and he turns around and he starts being a hero again for the right reasons, and he finds himself in the process. He also meets a lot of people along the way that make him think, I don't want to be like that guy, right? So he goes through this journey himself. Both men end up putting themselves in a situation where they could have both died. But guess what? The characters survive because it's movies, one, and two, because they did it together. Again, these are stories and concepts and ideas that people can identify with. People love to see character growth. They love to see characters evolve. They love to see characters go through this journey of self-discovery. And guess what? If you get to have a little fun along the way, see a little bit over the top, violence and maybe some politically incorrect jokes that make people a little uncomfortable, but everybody likes it anyway because guess what? We live in a world where people are a little bit too sensitive at times. Deadpool smashes that in the face. He says, I don't care if you're comfortable or not. We're going to have a fun time. This is R-rated. If you're sensitive, don't come and watch my movie. But guess what? Over 120 million people spent their money, and over $1.3 billion worldwide has been grossed by a movie because Marvel got back to formula. They let Ryan Reynolds do what Ryan Reynolds does best. And now Marvel can move forward because of that movie. Yes, they will move forward because all the projects Marvel has coming up are going to have the benefit of people finally having a good taste back in their mouth when it comes to Marvel. And it's not that all the Marvel projects before Deadpool and Wolverine were bad. I thought Shang-Chi was an incredibly well-done movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Ryan Coogler did an amazing job with that film. And I personally thought that Ant-Man Quantumania and the Marvels were well-done movies. They were just executed incorrectly when it comes to promotion and just the whole idea of, we're telling this big story instead of focusing on the characters. And I thought Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, maybe could have been toned down a little bit in terms of the special effects, but I think overall it was a really good movie. Spider-Man No Way Home is basically the last big blockbuster that Marvel had, that and Wakanda Forever, before Deadpool and Wolverine came along. And by the way, we know Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be part of the future of the MCU because if you look at the colors in the Avengers Secret Wars title they put out, guess what those colors are? Red and yellow. Just like the same in the Deadpool and Wolverine screen capture. Yes. So Marvel's already telling you they are going to have a role in the multiverse moving forward. Which is smart because you combine that with bringing back Robert Downey Jr. in a role as a character that I think there are people out there who really have no idea about, but they're going to be drawn to it just because of Robert Downey Jr.'s involvement. And let's be realistic. The way Deadpool and Wolverine ends, it opens up the door for all kinds of jokes about the multiverse because Deadpool saved his universe. And you know what that means? There is a multiverse to be had and to be saved. And when you introduce a place like the Void and say it's this expansive world, well, guess what? You can easily make that a landing ground for a future showdown with a supervillain who is going to be working behind the scenes and manipulating things. And you know what? If Deadpool and Wolverine get to have their moment, good for them. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what Marvel does moving forward because I think that allowing Deadpool and Wolverine to breathe on their own, develop their own story arc, and then introduce them in the MCU is the best way to go. Pigeonholing all of these dumb end credit scenes that give people all kinds of false hope like they did in the Eternals or at the end of the Marvels is not the way to go. Literally, there's been almost no post-credit scenes paid off in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. Horrible, bad job, and that's why it's good that Marvel is getting back to basics. They're hitting that reset button. They're recalibrating. They are moved on from people like Victoria Alonso, who tried to cram her own social political views into properties and kept holding hostage post-production because she was Victoria Alonso. And they're getting back to basics. They're saying, look, people don't come to Marvel movies because of the multiverse saga or special effects. They're coming to see character-driven stories. And that's why Deadpool and Wolverine has grossed over $1.3 billion. And guess what? People love the idea that X-23 has a future in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. People are looking forward to the idea of Sam Wilson's character, played by Anthony Mackie, reprising his role. People are excited about this stuff, but they wouldn't be as excited if Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't everything that it was. As wild and zany and over the top and politically incorrect and bizarre as it was. Is the movie for everyone? Of course not. Okay? This is not Star Wars, okay? This is not a property that's made for people of all ages. Marvel understands that now. They're finally starting to accept that they got to give the people what they want. Because if they want the people to spend their money, that's what they got to do. I'm Josh Hennig. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll catch you next time right here for more conversations about sports, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and more here on my YouTube channel. Take care, everyone.